and welcome to a new episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo.
I'm John. Kathy doesn't have her headphones on yet.
They do now.
That's Kathy.
That's Kathy. Welcome to episode 119.
Yes.
Today, I'm kind of off screen a bit because I'm getting some stuff ready. Should probably switch that over to a different camera.
Hey, Crimson.
Tonight, we are going to talk about Gencon and that possibility, because we actually started off air talking about it, and we're like, oh, let's get back into talking about it. Let's save this for the podcast.
Right. We're going to talk about Gencon?
Gencon? Question mark. And role-playing, because I had some things about role-playing that we wanted to talk about, but we have a feeling that the Gencon slash convention thing may take a lot of time. We may get some pretty good information on that. It's like, see me way over here. So other than that, let's go ahead and start off by thanking all of our sponsors. We want to thank Creaturecaster, even though it says Kathy's painting tonight. She's not going to paint. And Gonzo's not going to paint either. Gonzo is going to be working on a model that he
There will be no painting tonight, unless you people in the...
I almost feel like I have to paint because neither of you are, but I already did my hobby streak.
Yeah, right? I'm not going to be painting. I've got a work I need to do. But we want to thank Creaturecaster for sponsoring our podcast. Those guys do awesome work with new stuff, new paints coming out. We also want to thank Muse on Minis for supporting us and putting our podcast out on the air. Want to thank Metalhead Minis for sponsoring us. And she will be having some new product from us pretty soon that people can buy, especially as a Song of Ice and Fire supplement, partially designed by myself and Captain Mizzy. And who am I missing? Tectonic Crash Studios. Let's do that.
Dan.
Tectonic Crash Studios, Dan the Man, which I hope to have some new information from him about some stuff coming up pretty soon. So other than that, John, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking whatever the green flavored Hawaiian punch is called.
Green flavored Hawaiian punch.
I'm pretty sure it's just green flavored.
No, it's got a name on the thing. I just don't look.
I disbelieve. I disbelieve. It is green, red is red, orange is orange.
Hold on. I'm going to... Hawaiian.
It's that wait for Kool-Aid, too.
Flavors.
And Jell-O.
Kathy, what are you drinking then?
I'm drinking gin and tonic because people have finally decided that tonic water is not going to cure their COVID-19.
Good. It's called Greenberry Rush, by the way.
Greenberry Rush.
That's an illusion. I disbelieve.
I mean, you can take it up with www.hawaiianpunch.com and see what Punchy says about it.
They're lying.
Involve a punch.
They are lying.
Lies. Tonight, I am drinking some good old water. I've been up since 3 a.m. Because my dog decided to pee on my carpet in the middle of the night, and I couldn't go back to sleep after that. So, sticking with some water for a bit.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. That's
Rough.
So, to everybody out there watching, listening, following us, coming in and chatting with us, we appreciate it, guys. Please take care of yourself. Make sure that you are looking after each other. And if you have to go out, be safe. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Captain Mizzy is drinking a non-alcoholic mango lemonade. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let me go and switch over to Gonzo Paint Cam.
Legionnaire says, my bet is no Gen Con. I mean, War Machine WTC just got canceled today. So,
yep.
Well...
That's sort of the topic. That's what brought it up.
Legionnaires may have, in my stream, heard me say it is just my assumption, but I'm just assuming that all of my conventions for the year are not going to happen. So
it's unlikely for all of them because, honestly, at the point where you are legally able to hold them, anyone who has already booked space and you have to book it in advance would not be allowed to cancel that for insurance reasons. So that's where it gets weird. And that's sort of the problem we're going to end up running into with a lot of these, is that even if they want to cancel them, there will be a point where they cannot cancel them.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things, that's what we were talking about, because since San Diego Comic-Con canceled and such, and they're huge, of course, we were like, oh, what about, Gencon? Because Gencon's coming up, and it's technically not that far away. And we were like,
It's basically the end of July or 1st of August. It is as far away from right now as basically the beginning of COVID is from now. So, I mean, it's still a good period away, and it'll feel like it takes forever. Hey, guys, do you remember we almost started World War III? That was actually this year.
Yeah.
Feels like last year, year before.
It really does,
Like
yeah.
that. But yeah, so, and actually Crimson brings up the point that we were bringing up also, Kathy. He says, at a point, they won't, even if they don't cancel, I still don't want to get on a plane and go into a crowded room with tens of thousands of nerds with questionable hygiene at the best of times.
That's what I was saying too, Crimson.
Yep.
I was saying there's going to be a lot of people that feel that way.
Yep, and that's
I don't think there's going to be an equal number of people that feel the other way, just based on, how conventions were after 9/11 when people were afraid to fly. And that was only afraid to fly, not afraid of catching some unseen, virus and stuff.
So I hate to say it, but people were more afraid to fly because the danger was more real in their minds. COVID is that thing that happens, but doesn't happen to you. I mean, it's easy. That's why all people are out there rationalizing why they're still going out and doing stupid shit, even though they shouldn't be out and doing stupid shit. They're just pretty certain that it's not going to get them because
I feel like that's a minority, a loud minority of people, though.
True, but you also have people who maybe aren't as worried. There's a lot of the gamer community who probably have that air of invincibility who likes to, I don't know, roll them dice. A lot of gamers, that riverboat gambler style, like, I'll be fine. I'll wear a mask, maybe. We'll see. I mean, I would actually hope that it's not a thing by the time COVID's not really a thing we worry about as much by the time that comes around. But that seems about the time we'd be getting off the second wave, because we're going to have a second wave after everyone goes back out. It's going to happen. It happened in the past. It's going to happen again. It's just the way it's going to be.
Benian wants to know, why is Gonzo making an odd raven mask? Revan.
It's a Sith Inquisitor mask, actually, Banian. So, I mean,
we'll get there. Get it partially put together because I got to sit there and hold this glue because I printed it in 2 parts, or it would have been, too much of a pain in the ass, and then I'll get it done. But I want to get the nose piece painted or glued together because it's not 100% shaped correctly. So I'm holding the glue down. Sorry. The reason why I'm not talking, I had to make sure it matched up okay and everything else, because there is definitely going to have to be some sanding and some gap filling on this. But
it's one of the problems with 2-part things like that. Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. But no, because me and another person were talking about Gencon, and we're like, Gencon's one of those conventions that it's not like, oh, there's 500 people. No, this is, tens of thousands to, whatever you want to call it type people. This is huge. This is, the largest gathering of nerds that can be. And I'm like...
60,000 people 4 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming close. We're only like a month and a half, 2 months? Like
Gencon is
3 full months ago, or 3 full months away from now.
3.
Yeah.
3 full months.
So, I mean, it's not that it couldn't happen. It's just that, it possibly, it could still go off. But, I mean, there's got to be some changes.
Yeah, and that's good. You guys, everyone should start keeping that in mind for stuff. We were also talking about Warfare Weekend.
I had a few things come up about
likely to go off because, that's far enough in the future. I'll be honest. If there's a lot of cons like that, if it doesn't go off that far in the future, there are other problems. And, everything we say can be thrown out at that point.
Yeah, there's the thing. Since the WTC canceled, I had quite a few people message me and ask me if the Warfare Weekend was still on. And at this time, yes, it is. We're still monitoring just like everybody else and waiting to see, what's going on. But you never know. That's the thing. I've had quite a few people reschedule their qualifying tournaments for the Invitational. And they're like, is this a problem? And I'm like, no, of course not. This is a whole different thing. This isn't, you're not being denied or you're not going to, lose your spot as a qualifying tournament. This is something that's so rare. It's, it's weird.
The word thrown around is unprecedented.
Yeah, and that's the best way to put it. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to, deny you or say whatever. But I mean, here's the thing. We have to run it bit by bit. I mean,
Yep.
If something comes up, and especially if the state says, hey, you can't have a gathering of more than 10 people, we can't, have it.
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis actually canceled other conventions before the, if you will, the big hit of COVID-19 came up, just because they were worried. They had almost no cases reported, no appreciable threat in most people's eyes before we really know what it was, and they canceled a convention 2 days, 2 business days before it started. Like, it was going to start on a Monday. They canceled it Thursday night beforehand. So, I mean, you never know. All these places are being safer rather than sorry. So we'll have to see how that goes. But keep in mind, these things could cancel. Maybe if you think you're going to something, have an idea what you plan to do, if it goes off. Are you going to go? Are you going to have a mask? I mean, we'll have no idea what it's going to be like. People are going to be wearing masks out in public for a long time after COVID-19. I mean, it's going to happen. People who are just, I don't want to say too worried. How about more worried than the rest of us?
Yeah.
Because are they too worried? I don't know. They didn't get it. Can they really be too worried?
Well, I mean, and that's the thing is we won't know until it's only going to be a time will tell thing. And that's the thing. A time will tell whether this, things start opening up or people start doing things. And it's just going to have to, it's a wait and see thing.
Mm-hmm.
Would we rather have Gencon go off? Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah.
But,
But, based upon what people have said, and I don't really want to go too far into that, you can hear political talk when I talk on my other podcast if you want. But let's just say, with the idiocy going on with some people, remember that the right amount of people, the appropriate amount of people, the okay amount of people that can die for any event is 0. 0. No one. Nothing is important enough to go on if people are going to potentially die. It's just not worth it. There ain't gaming that's important enough for that. The NFL knows that. When all the professional sports close, y'all should know the shit's real. Yeah. There is so much money on the line for those guys. And to be honest, I'm surprised as it related to how many people just have no idea what to do with their time because they can't watch sports.
Yeah. I was joking. My boss is a very big sports person, and I was joking. I says, man, I can't wait until ESPN starts doing esports now. Because you can watch esports, and and he's like, no, fucking, yeah.
Sure, it's on ESPN 8. The Ocho.
The Ocho.
Actually, they've been showing esports. I mean, let's be honest. Are esports any different than showing the World Series of fucking poker?
Well, yeah, it was just a big joke because he's not nerdy or anything, and I was just giving him shit. Because he's a huge sports fan.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, people joke at esports, but actually I think there's some interesting stuff in there because if it's not about the sport, it's about if the commentators can make the sport interesting.
Yeah.
If you can explain that, then you can watch it. I mean, think of the videos you watch on YouTube that are just interesting. You'd like, I didn't care about this thing, but man, this guy made it sound super interesting.
Yeah. Like watching an individual paint. You are Bob Ross, and you can talk about it and make it sound interesting. That's what made it much better.
I'm glad you clarified. I thought you was taking a shot at Kathy for a second there.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, people, I was checking out a review on a game that I possibly wanted to buy and download. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch because on PlayStation you can watch people play the game that are broadcasting. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch some games and see some gameplay. And a lot of it was people just standing around talking to their friends in the middle of the game, but not going and doing anything. And I'm like, this does not want me. I don't want to buy this game. This is it's a turn off to this right here. So I was like flipping through. I had to go through like 6 different channels to finally find one person playing the game, and it was just bad.
Hashtag YouTube for the win.
Yeah.
Just type it in, find someone playing the game. You will know, does it look like the gameplay is interesting enough for me?
I enjoyed when I was into Champions, there were several people that were streaming, and I enjoyed watching them play that game against other people, and they would talk about what they were doing, what the cards did. They would talk about their strategy, why they were making this decision, that decision, and the people in the chat would ask them about it, or talk about their own strategies and everything. And I thought that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, those are great fun. If you get the reason all those those Twitch people do well is because they have a good way of explaining what they're looking at, what they're looking for, their tactics, their ideas. I've been watching a guy doing a bunch of stuff. He's got a million videos on YouTube of MechWarrior Online. He has a great job of explaining, we need to do this now, but I can't do it because this. He goes into it, and you're like, I feel like I know a lot of what's going on in that game because of the great he explains that. And honestly, it's always what we had hoped for from streaming and or recording games of War Machine or whatever, because you want to sort of get that experience. You want to get that experience across, but it's hard sometimes. If you're recording a game, the guy's right across from you. You can't always just say what you're planning because you're sort of giving it away.
Yeah.
Maybe the advanced maneuvers guys always did a better job because they'd go and record the game, and they'd do a voiceover at higher speed afterwards to sort of tell their thoughts.
Yeah. What was it? Arcane Assist, when they did that, they would play the game and then they would come back and re-record commentary over the fact. That way they didn't spoil anything or nothing got ruined or whatever.
Let me get an answer for was. There we go.
So for the people that were watching, I'll switch over. Let me switch over here. Let me look at this. I am building a Sith Inquisitor mask. You have to excuse the reflection. They were printed in 2 different ways, but I was gluing them together because I think I'm going to build a cosplay outfit of the Sith Inquisitor mask. I've seen it on Thingiverse for quite a while. Been watching it, and I was like, oh, this looks really freaking cool. I think I want to do something with this. And so I finally printed it off and just was like, I need to put it together. So I figured I'd put it together on air.
Why do Sith have really cool masks and Jedis do not?
Because good guys don't need to hide their faces. Unless you're the Lone Ranger.
There you go.
See, when you are the majority, i.e. the Jedi, you don't have to hide your face because you're the majority, you're safe. But when you're a minority in there, or you have loved ones you need to protect, then you must hide your face. Besides, masks are terribly comfortable. I think they'll be all the rage in a couple of years. Are we pre-rambling? Oh, so you can see your face? I mean, that's an improvement. Go with that.
Go with that.
No, put it back.
But I was just trying to get it fixed. It took me, just for people, FYI, the top half took 2 days to print, and the bottom half took 22 hours to print. The top half, I'm going to have to do some sanding on here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because I got a little, because it's the top layer, I should have reorientated it. So this part, the top of the head was the top print. But all this is just taking a fine sander and sand it down, and then sealing and primer will take care and fill some of that gap in there.
Yeah, some primer will take care of some of that.
Yeah. So, still gotta fix some of the.
You can airbrush it?
Yes. There's gonna be an airbrush. It's gonna be black in the recesses and silver chrome on the upper parts. That's what it's supposed to be like. And I'm probably going to do like some battle damage or, weathering effects on it too.
You don't have the really shiny chrome spray stuff, do you? It's just going to be metallic paint, right? You know what I'm talking about? There's this chrome spray. It's not for airbrush, I don't think. It's like a spray paint, kind of I don't know, it's a caustic paint, but it comes out like, it looks like actual chrome. I have a friend who sprayed plastic high-os with it, and it was like they were chrome, actual chrome.
Yeah. It's not going to be chrome. It's going to be a very bright silver. I don't know if I want to go chrome or not, because when you seal chrome...
GTFO.
Do what?
Chrome or GTFO.
When you seal chrome, it dulls really bad. Where are my clippers?
You could put gloss varnish over it. That's what gloss varnish is for.
Yeah, I could.
That stuff you wouldn't need to do a... What?
So that's what gloss varnish is for. If you make it all nice, and if you dull it down when you put it on there, you gloss varnish. And
Gloss varnish. Yeah.
I did that on Red Skull's boots. They're shiny. This is not seen. He'll do that stupid shit.
But yeah, that chrome spray, that is so... It doesn't require any kind of other finish.
Yeah, there's a lot of that good chrome stuff out there. I have some of the chrome paint around here somewhere. I bought it when I was buying some paints.
I know a friend of mine, he's done a lot of chrome paint jobs on miniatures, and he actually has a chrome pen. Marker pen.
Chrome pen was the next one I was talking about.
Yeah.
I know L. Marshall did that on Ultron. You can see his ass from fucking orbit. He did it on Iron Man before he washed it in red a lot. It can make a model really, really pop. If you ever want that silver to super duper pop, get that chrome. Yeah, if you go chrome, you can yell "Witness me!" Absolutely.
Where is my...
Oh, my friend Gilbert from Red Dragon Model Works, he made a mask. He printed a mask, and actually, I forget who printed it for him. But that one was the one with the teeth. I can't even explain it, but it was so cool, and he painted it up like they were just sort of brown ivory, like old ivory sort of teeth, and like screwed into this jaw thing, and then the other parts were metallic. And
I think I saw that.
It was so cool, so creepy. And he's like, my wife won't go to the grocery store and film other people's reactions to this mask when I wear it. She's too embarrassed to be seen with me.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
A lot of nerds are going out with some really funny masks here or there.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
Oh, that's loud.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not even loud on this end. I'm just reverberation, I'm sure, is what it is. But
I think your microphone's picking up way more than it should.
Yeah.
You got a heck of a mic on that set there.
Yeah, so, well, I'm trying to find my soft, fingernail file.
You should probably actually sandpaper it.
Your soft fingernail file won't do anything to it, and it will take forever.
Well, it's got one side of it's rough, and then one other side's pretty smooth. That I've used before. I don't know what happened to it. When I rearranged, I lost it.
I don't know if you're planning on going out to get something, but I have a block that is a drywall sander. It does a very good job on a lot of stuff that's not too hard.
Yeah, I've got a plethora of fingernail.
Or you could go with a file like this.
I have one of those too in the other room at the same time for the same model. Because it can fit flat to the... we're going to show you the model. Heck, why not?
Beautiful, big file.
But
this model, this Forge World model, the base wouldn't go flat on the base. You can even tell now it's not exactly flat. So I put a layer of green stuff on it, and then had to use the files and everything to make it vaguely flat so that it would stick on the base.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a Trogoth Hag. It is one of the only world models I've bought anytime recently, just because GW doesn't make one. So
So how did your guys' torso go together there, Gonzo?
He went together. I'm definitely going to do just some gap filling along it and just use green stuff. Shouldn't
Yeah,
be too
yeah.
bad.
That
But I
should
mean,
be
there's
easy.
definitely, I can stick a fingernail's, width in there. And I'm just going to
Yeah,
green
that
fill.
won't be difficult.
Nah. But I also have to file all these down because, I mean, remember this one, I haven't touched it since the podcast last week, and it's got that rounded.
You need a
Mm-hmm.
bigger file, dog.
Because I don't know where my file went. I have a big file. I just don't know where it went.
You need one like Kathy's got, honestly. That's what those giant files are good for. It sits there as a flat surface, and then you...
And you just rub the model across it.
Oh, no, I have one that is, like an inch or so wide.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know where it went. I know where I can go get one. So, on top of that, of Gencon, give a percentage of chance you think that it's actually going to go while I go get a fingernail file.
Oh, God, that requires way more data than I have off the top of my head. Let's just see if I can find it here. So what I do, guys, and this is purely a nerd thing, is NPR has a lot of reasonably frequently updated information on coronavirus in various states, including you can go down towards the bottom and see what it's like in any state. And I like to use that to see what it looks like because people ask me questions like this, and I might need to have a reasonable answer. So the real problem with Gencon is going to be a very global, it's usually a very global con.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to see a lot of them not show up for that. This one is very weird. Let me find the one I'm looking for here. Da-da-da. Looking for one particularly that has a better graph of everything. That's the one I'm looking for. The state by state peaks. Because I mean, honestly, no one can know because once you stop social distancing in a state, you have no idea what may happen here.
Yeah. Well, and then when you got people coming in from all 50 states,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to the international crowd.
Yep. Let's take a look.
Maybe mute that.
The main thing is going to be to see what the state's going to be like. Because if the state doesn't allow people in, it doesn't matter what you want to do with your con. Let's see. They actually look like they peaked April 10th. They're on the down, but they had another uptick. Yeah, they're still trending like a lot of states to be down to almost zero. And keep in mind, this is deaths, not cases. So there's only so much you can look at for that. But they're looking to go down to about zero in mid to late May. So very, very likely they won't have to cancel Gen Con because of that. Again, like we said, if they're not getting enough people, or if they can cancel it and the insurance money is as good or better than the money they would have gotten from the people who are actually going to show up anyways, they may cancel it anyways if they can get away with it. It's just for safety. I mean, it seems crazy to say that, but at some point you may just have to cancel for safety purposes. That's why a lot of these have been canceled. I mean, some of these things they aren't necessarily people in the threat range or what have you, and a lot of people were willing to go to some conventions, but you have to be ready for the safety. Let me see if I can actually find that here. Let's see. And 19. Let's see if they have anything as good as Maryland. Maryland's got a very good one, actually, where it shows you a lot of good data. So overall, I bet Indianapolis is right there in that county. I would put money on that. Anyone know where where's Indianapolis? Hold
What
on here.
county it's in?
Yeah. Bet Marion. Yep, it's in Marion County. You know how I could tell? Because all their counties, they have one county that sort of borders on their state that's got like 1,500 cases. The rest are significantly under 1,000, except for that one that's at like 5,000.
Uh-huh.
So looking at their overall numbers, they're in the middle of an uptick, so it's hard to tell. Still likely to fall. They've updated recently, so it probably won't be canceled because the state wants to cancel stuff. But it still may be canceled by them. I would give it, I don't know, I'd say 75% chance of actually going off. Canceling for insurance money notwithstanding. I think there's a very small chance of the state, because they get a lot of money in Indianapolis from conventions.
Yes,
They're not going to want to cancel if they don't have to. And that's, again, the rawest look at the data is just looking at the cases they have and what the trends look like. And again, it's always hard to tell when they're currently trending up because, trending up, you got to be careful. If you're trending
the
down,
Indy 500, which draws way more people than Gencon, believe it or not.
I believe it.
Was postponed until the fall, and they've postponed it again till even later now.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see what it says. Let's see anything about that. They rescheduled for August 23rd. So, and I know a lot of people are wondering, why don't they just, push back the date of a convention? The problem with that is, if people don't know, is that convention center is probably booked solid afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big convention center, but there's a lot of people doing stuff there. And that's why most of these places can't just reschedule. Because, there's other people who got their thing in there. All they can do is cancel it and just go for the next year.
Every venue everywhere, they're booked.
Now, there might be...
And they're not going to want to... People aren't going to want to move their convention unless they have to.
Monument Slow Fuse is raiding. Hey, Jason. Thank you so much for the raid.
Thanks, Jason.
Welcome, everybody who is a Monument Slow Fuse Creature Caster fan. We love our Creature Caster people.
Of course, unfortunately, we're not painting tonight.
Gonzo's working on some models, but...
Yeah, we're talking about related stuff, but not directly. Our current conversation is whether or not Gencon's going to go off and what we're looking at for dates for stuff. I think to sum up, we think there's a chance Gencon will go off. It definitely won't be as big as it normally is, and we're not really sure what it's going to look like.
And of course, these are all suppositions.
Yeah, suppositions. I'm no expert. I am amateur data looker at her. But I do have some knowledge in it since I do work for a company. We do deal with a lot of organizations that do a lot of conventions. But we'll have to see how that goes. If I get any notes, I'll, of course, update you guys. But as I said, right now, the earliest convention I know they're planning on going after any of the people we deal with is until October, which is, as you know, quite a few months after the end of July. So we'll have to see. I think Gencon's got a good chance. Won't be as big. I think, honestly, Warfare Weekend might be the one to book on for that, as much as I hate to say it, because it seems like shameless self-promotion, or shameless Gonzo promotion.
Gonzo promotion. No, and the thing is it's so far out still.
It is still super far out. Let's see, what else is in between there? It's big convention season there, so there's a bunch of ones that'll probably go off. I wonder when Nova Open is this year.
It's Labor Day weekend every year.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I should know that. September, fair chance of them, 2nd to 6th September. Always on a week I can't make it because it sucks.
Yeah. Sarge says ReaperCon. I'm thinking. I don't know.
3rd through 6th, the same weekend.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I would say that. I would give that one very high chances of going off. But again, maybe not quite as many people. That might be when people finally start going out. And actually, for a lot of those cons, you get people who are stir crazy. You might get a lot more local-ish people who normally don't go who are willing to go.
Yeah, and then by the same token, you'll be getting a lot of people who aren't the healthiest of people, so they're gonna be cautious and
Hmm.
and not go.
And
And
I like to say that gamers as a whole are generally smarter than the average population. We have more logical deduction capabilities in most cases. And we'll be looking at that data. And while we may be riverboat gamblers, as I talked with Kathy before the show, we're not stupid. We'll take some chances, but they'll be educated chances. So
Jason's like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out. Yeah,
yeah,
it's all a vast unknown right now,
like
and
like we were saying, unprecedented. There's no precedent for this. We've
yeah,
never seen anything like it before. Well, we kind of have, but society's changed so much in those 100 years since the last time something like this really, really happened. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. And there's a lot of other things that go on since then. I mean, it's bad. I mean, it's a bad time for a lot of companies. And these, not to get too political, but since we're COVID-19 right now, these places that are opening up, dare I say, early, are hurting people and companies because once you're allowed to be open, you can't get all the benefits for having to be closed.
yeah,
Seems crazy. Unfortunately, it's a thing that happens. So keep supporting those guys if you like them. Be safe. You know, when your local game store is allowed to be open, maybe try and run in, grab some stuff, and go. Maybe not. I wouldn't try and hang out and play games for a little bit until you feel safe. I mean, to be fair, there's usually about 4 feet between us, generally speaking. That's almost 6 feet, reasonably safe. But take it down to the Magic games and all, I'm thinking miniature games, of course. So, but be careful with that and think about it. I, for one, will probably have my friends over as soon as it's. I'm sure you could get away with it right now, but it doesn't seem right if everyone's supposed to basically stay at home unless unless you need to travel. It seems stupid to invite friends over to play fucking miniatures games. Call me crazy,
Crazy.
but, but
I absolutely agree with you. And I have friends who are going stir crazy, and they're like, hey, you wouldn't want to just come over and no.
Nope.
The answer is no. I'm
now, that said,
sorry.
if one
I'm
of my
sorry
friends
you're
is like,
bored.
I'm totally bored. I came over. I'm gonna let him in. I don't care. I ain't worried. Um, I have a couple that maybe it's not the best idea. I mean, I do still have to go to the office. Currently 4 days a week. Um, and then my buddy Not Brushhead Dave still goes to the office with his people. They're still working from the last I heard. I only got a couple minutes to talk to them. Downside of having to have masks on in the restaurant is you have to have masks on the restaurant. Makes it hard to have conversations. Fucking hate wearing a mask out. Just gonna say. But I have to, so I do.
Because you do.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you have to, you have to. Rage about it all you want. You can not want to do it all you want, but if it's for other people's safety, just fucking do it. If it was about my safety, I'm not as worried. You know. But other people's safety, you got to be worried. It's other people.
Yes.
So we are hoping Gencon. I'm thinking maybe that ReaperCon type area because it's another full month afterwards. Seems good, and as you get further away, it'll get more and more likely something's going to go off. But until First State opens and sees success opening again, we're not going to know. We had it earlier. Someone mentioned that Florida's opening up, and I mean, everyone's good. Georgia's opening up. We're going to see how those states take it. Florida's a better. Florida and the Atlanta metro area, we have better. Guinea pig is. I hate to say it that way. A better guinea pig.
Yeah.
What's going to happen than
They'll
other?
be supplying us with data.
They will be supplying us with that. Just got to make sure we use the data properly.
Florida man, Legionnaires says.
Yeah, Florida man. If you'll find something wrong with this, Florida man can do it. Do not discount what Florida man will and won't do.
For other people that are watching, I am working on a Guyver 3D model I printed recently, trying to put it together. It's going to be a lot of gap filling, but.
And if you don't know and if you want to know what the Guyver is, check out the anime. Do not watch the live action movie. I don't care if Mark Hamill's in it. Don't do it.
And actually, the live action wasn't bad, but the anime is so much better.
Hold on. Full stop here. Was it? No. It's bad. Like, don't listen to him. Take it from the guy who's watched all the Transformers movies recently and didn't think they were that bad. It is that bad.
I didn't think it was. I thought they did a very good job for the time that it was made, and with the technology they had then.
No, but they actually didn't. It's not good.
I guess I'm gonna have to go rewatch it then, huh?
On a scale of Casablanca to Atlantic Rim.
Oh, it's Cats now. Remember?
Oh, my mistake. Casablanca to Cats. Where does it fall?
I'm gonna say 3/5 of the way towards Cats.
Oof, that's.
I'm gonna rewatch it. I'm just going to find it and rewatch it because now I did watch it when it first came out, and that was a long, long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
And to be fair, I saw the anime long before I saw the movie, and it was not good.
I did see the anime long before the movie. That's the reason why I knew.
Also, to be fair, Guyver 2 Dark Hero is a better movie overall. I think they tried too hard in the Guyver movie and did things they shouldn't have tried to do. Oh, Avian, no. It's not Atlantic Rim. It's not.
No, it's not Atlantic Rim.
No, it's... Trust me, I've watched some shit recently, and while Atlantic Rim is still in the category of shittiest movies ever, this is a fair portion away from that. It's... Woof.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Definitely
No,
not that bad.
No, not even by my recollection is it that bad. Maybe we'll have to watch it. Maybe if someone finds it free somewhere, let me know. Maybe I'll find some time to watch it. We can review it for next week.
Also, so I can find the Guyver movie somewhere.
Why would I? Apparently, I'm a glutton for punishment because after watching Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, you'd think I'd know better than to try and watch shit movies.
Well, you also...
I still can't believe...
Every movie is adult beverage assisted viewing. All of them.
I can't believe there's a movie called Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
I mean, there's Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, but that's basically a comic book.
Probably a better movie.
I'm pretty sure I actually saw Abraham Lincoln the Vampire Hunter on the streets of Chicago at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was driving home one day.
Okay. So, Legionnaires, here's the thing. Turkish Star Wars is a whole different thing. Like, we gave it 5 shots of Kraken back in the day, but it's 5 loving shots of Kraken. That movie is a whole different thing. Like, Atlantic Rim is so far worse than that because they were fucking trying and had a budget. We'll have to wait on Velocipaster. We keep trying to get a live viewing of that for charity with Mount John. Haven't had a chance to get it all to work yet. So I'm holding off on watching that because I want to be fresh when that comes in.
Is Velocipaster a dinosaur that is a priest?
No, it's a priest who can turn into a dinosaur and fight.
So, yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
I mean, I think a dinosaur that finds a way to turn into a human, or a dinosaur who is actually a pastor in addition, is a totally different movie. Oh yeah, Gonzo, mask. You're sanding fucking resin there. Thanks, Legionnaires.
And he was wearing it earlier.
And I took it off to get some stuff done.
There you go.
Thanks, Mom.
Hey, he's right. I mean, that's a good note for everyone watching, that you need to wear that mask when you're filing that stuff. Is no bueno. So actually, Crimson, I don't think the higher scale had to be recalibrated since Turkish Star Wars. Turkish Star Wars was the original 5-shot. And then Atlantic Rim took the crown. And then Cats came and said, we may not categorically be worse, but we cost $100 million, so we're taking the crown. They sort of bought the crown, so to speak. So we'll have to see with that. Now we're talking about movies again.
We just can't get away from it tonight.
Well, honestly,
I'm okay with that.
Thinking about it in this crisis, what do we have to do?
Watch movies and play video games.
Watch movies and play video games. I'm gonna play a lot of video games right now, so watching a lot of movies.
Wait, is that what I'm supposed to be doing?
Well, I mean, you can paint models too.
Paint models? What the hell's that?
I paint lots of models.
Why would we paint models? There's no reason to paint models.
I mean, I'd hold up the 2 BattleTech models I've painted, but I know Necromiles have seen them, so.
I'll be finishing the Pirate Girl that I was working on last week, where I had a little palette cleanser as I was painting the Suzerain of Desire, lovingly also known as the Twins from Creature Caster, and it's been taking a while, as people can imagine. And so I just needed a sort of a palette cleanser, you know? I needed to just take a break and do something else. So last week I was working on this this bombshell pirate girl that Patrick Keith sculpted, and that was a lot of fun. And I'm almost done with it. And so this week, once I get the stripes painted on her pants, it will be back to the Suzerain of Desire.
Yeah, these are my palette
John is showing off his BattleTech guys.
Yeah, these are my palette cleanser. You don't need to be nearly as detailed. It's kind of a good palette cleanser.
At least yours is painting Urkai.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of get filling.
Done with all 10 of the core Marvel Crisis Protocol models.
Hooray!
We're on top of that, and then I'm working on Winter Soldier now, but I haven't gotten very far. Base in his arm, and then I'm putting together 2 more, and then I got a little bit of terrain left for them. After that, I am done with Marvel Crisis Protocol. I'll have to buy some more or paint other models. I'm sure I can find some other models to paint. I told someone, like, I feel like if I got, my work wasn't essential, I'd run out of models to paint. What? If COVID-19 lasted 10 years. Like, literally, I have models. I mean, I will run out of paint long before models.
I was going to say, I know that before you got your painting station set up, you were assembling and assembling and assembling a shit ton of models. So I know you have models to paint.
Maybe a 40K army or 2. Age of Sigmar army or 2.
Uh-huh.
This Legion army. Yeah, I got a couple models I can paint. I'm not going to run out. I got models I don't even know what paint scheme I'm painting yet. I got Star Wars Legion, which probably would be my next. If I didn't do something Malifaux real quick in between, I think Star Wars Legion would be my next. But
what sort of Malifaux stuff would you be doing?
I mean, I've literally only painted 1 crew. So I mean, I have like
50 million crews to go.
Well, just in 10 Thunders, I probably have another 6 or 7 crews to paint. And that's not even counting the fact I got another assembled crew over here at a box. Oops. So, yeah, I'm not going to run out of models anytime soon. And then I got a whole other faction of at least one other faction of stuff.
Rumor has it I have too much painting that warp gate thing.
You will most likely be getting your package next week. For me, I was wondering, these are warp gates that someone had made on Thingiverse, and I 3D printed them to fit resized them a bit to fit on the base for Warcaster, Neo Mechanica, whenever it comes out. And so I was like, oh, I need to get this one, because this is pretty much how it's gonna be. I gotta do a little bit of washing on it and such, but these are going to Captain Mizzy for her army, because she didn't get any for hers. Her Kickstarter didn't have any, and I figured I'd paint these up for her.
Cool. Yeah, it's probably the one piece of equipment I think Bane and I wish we had was some sort of 3D printer. Didn't used to be a problem. We just get stuff from El Marshall, but that's not really an option right now. So luckily I got crew for my Rebel laser cannons here. They don't have a cool name. We just call them Rebel laser cannons. They come with Hoth crew. I've got some crew that's more generic-y. That's super cool. Because I got 3 of them. I don't want them all the same crew. So super cool. Yeah, Leeches or hit me up on Facebook for questions about the third edition. I'll answer everything I can. We were enjoying it. Me and Brush had Dave playing pretty much every week prior to the COVID and his back problems. But not sure. I mean, it'll be weird to see what gaming gets back into and how it gets back into when it comes in, because I mean, everyone's going to have a little bit of the rust to knock off and have to decide, what do you want to play first?
What new models for what new games have you been working on during your seclusion? You know, everybody might have new things they want to try out.
I mean, that's absolutely fair. Plus what came out. I mean, some companies are taking it a little slower, but there's still releases coming out. Lots of cool stuff. GW's put out some cool stuff, as always. I know Malifaux's still pressing forward. There's a whole new edition of Infinity coming out that I haven't even looked at.
Yeah, because it was supposed to come out at Gencon.
Yeah.
They were planning on doing.
Yeah, they're still working on it. We'll see. I mean, rumor has it that it's supposed to make things easier, which, I mean, maybe Infinity's only downside is how complicated it is, but we'll see. I've also got, eventually the Kickstarter for Battletech will come out. I've got a crap ton of models coming from that.
I've got Warcaster. I've got a crap ton of models for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting to ever see models for Relic Knights 2.0. So.
How many years has that been?
Actually, it's not been that long, but I'm not expecting it. Honestly, if they make it through this whole COVID-19 as a viable entity, I will actually be more legitimately impressed. I am impressed they're trying. They have plans to try and fill all their stuff, but they are the definition of, bad shit happened, and now they got to try and get out of it. Is why Kickstarter is not a guarantee, unfortunately. But I got plenty of models. And just deciding what to paint, what to play. I do like the occasional, like Kathy was saying, the occasional palette cleanser. I got a Paladin model here I want to paint at some point. Yeah, will probably be the palette cleanser after I get done with the next couple Marvel Crisis Protocol models and all before I decide what to leap into afterwards.
I kind of want to paint something in shiny armor. Just to kind of practice some non-metallic metal on armor.
Got a little paladin here. He's got a sword that goes in his hands. I kind of want to paint him and the sword separately, more or less. Because it goes like right in his hands. He's like holding it in front of him, so it blocks the entire front of the model.
What's it from?
It's Reaper, I'm sure.
Okay.
It's one of those things, it's one of those models that it was in a box. I had to clean out the box. I'm like, let's keep him.
Yeah. All I have to do is glance over there and see many boxes like that.
Oh, got a shelf over here.
I'm sure I have some kind of knight/paladin/fighter in armor somewhere in a blister pack.
I wonder if an actual Imperial Knight would look good in chrome.
Or you have a friend that has a 3D printer that could print you a knight.
I do?
Oh. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff there. Just keep on, guys, Get some, I say this all the time, but if anyone needs someone to talk to, hit us up, hit one of us up. Probably get a Skype or something to chat with people. It's too bad we don't have our Discord. Do we have our Discord anymore, Gonzo?
We do. It's just not ever used. Nobody.
Yeah, we have a Discord, but find some guys at Discord. I know a lot of people were just finding, ways to chat with people. I know all of us were like, oh, hey, we're, we don't need human interaction all the time. But I know a lot of people who said they didn't need human interaction who find out that now they need a little more than they're getting now.
I can't see who just followed us, the two people. Thank you for whoever did that. I'm trying to concentrate on this real quick.
Thank you for following Tiao Master.
And a Shork. I'm going to go with a Shork. And actually, someone else did earlier, didn't it?
There was someone else I didn't get to see.
Or Ash Orc.
or
If you
actual.
really want to see someone
Actual.
paint really, really well, you should actually watch our channel Tuesday through Friday and watch Kathy paint. She's amazing. While
You're kind to say that.
I just slop paint on and hopefully it sticks in the right place.
No, you can't do that. That's my paint style. You got to find your own.
Ooh,
Yes.
don't make me patent this.
Good luck.
But going on the fact of the Skype thing, I want to remind everybody that our new RPG, because we were going to talk about RPGs, but we ran out of time on that. Excuse me. Our new RPG is going to be streaming this Wednesday at 6 p.m. I am running a campaign based in Midgard. Campaign setting. We have quite a few players. Quite a few of the players from my original Star Wars game. I think, let's see, we have an Asimar Warlock, a Dragonborn Cleric, a Shadow Fae Sorcerer, a Damphir Rogue Pirate. Holy crap, I'm missing a bunch. We have a half-orc Paladin. And I believe a half-elf Bard.
That sounds like a fun group.
It's already started off kind of fun. We will be using Roll20. I'm still learning it, so I'm trying to get it in. I actually bought one of the starting modules for the game, and it actually is pretty neat and pretty cool how they have it all set up with dynamic lighting and dice rolling and all of that. Really, really neat. I'm kind of looking forward to it as a GM to test out and make my own stuff eventually.
Yeah, my Traveler game is actually moving to Roll20 too, so we'll have to see how
cool.
that goes.
We will be recording it also, but we'll definitely be streaming it live. We'll be streaming live next week, next Wednesday. It'll be our first session. We'll have to do a little bit of cleanup of stuff because I know there's some people that were like, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. I'm like, okay. Because we made our characters using the Roll20 system, character generator thing that they have.
Now, is that the point buy?
No, we did the Roll46, drop the lowest on there, and we did it all together as a group because we used the character sheet builder in Roll20.
Okay.
Which was pretty neat because it had all the character stuff for everything that I had purchased for the game session, and it was a click and pick pretty much. Like, okay, I want to do an orc. All right, here's the bonuses that come to the orc, and it auto calculates everything for you, so you don't have to worry about it or anything. So it was really nice. It was really neat. By the way, what time is it? I'm not even paying attention. Huh.
It's 2 minutes to media section, which you have a lot of stuff, so we could just start that 2 minutes early.
Oh, let me take off these glasses then, and let me switch over to the media section. What? Media, and I'm going to my media camera. Sweet. Let me swear on my phone because I try everything done. For people that's first time watching our last 30 minutes of the show, we talk about media and rate them on two different scales. You've heard some of it. And one of our scales is a scale of space herpes. The fewer the space herpes, the better the movie. And we also have a rating system where we rate it from Casablanca to Cats. Cats being the worst, Casablanca being the best. So we have a 2 rating system. Like I said, I think earlier today, I had 6 things I needed to talk about. I watched 6 different things. John, what do you got?
Discovery Season 2?
Oh, so it's going to be me, because Kathy, do you have anything this week?
Not really.
Not really? Okay.
Yeah,
So,
this is normal also. Gonzo just watches stuff all the time, and I don't watch stuff while I'm modeling because it distracts me.
yeah, I have to keep busy quite a bit. And actually, there's 2 animes on this one, by the way. for the people that are going to do everything. So let me get out.
Well, we're gonna have to do mine last because we don't want to spoil anything for Captain Mizzy, so she'll have to tune out. So let's do mine last.
Okay. So let me go and go with. I started watching Granblue Fantasy. It's an anime based off of a video game, I believe. It's a fantasy anime. It's not bad. For people that know me and my anime, I have to watch it dubbed. Oh, it's a mobile game? Okay. I don't remember. I just know that it is based off of a video game. And the story is about a guy that dies defending a girl. She resurrects him, gives him some certain powers, and they go around saving dragons all over the place. It's your standard typical fantasy anime. You've got someone that's, the guy's always going to win against, the super dragon because he's going to perform this super maneuver and fight with his true heart and, blah, blah, blah. The characters are pretty good. There's not, all the fan service, which I'm really, 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 really hate on anime. So there's a ton of decent action. Characters are fine. The story's okay. It's pretty much them just flying all over the planet, saving dragons. He is possessed by the greatest dragon in the world. I think it's Ball is which one it is. But it's your standard. But I mean, it's not bad. I would give it like 1.5, maybe pushing 2 on the space herpes. For the simple fact that the animation, the way it's drawn, is a little weird because it's not clean lines, so it's kind of like hand drawn, and I know some people would get upset by that. It threw me off a little bit at first, but I'm liking it. I know the second season they did change the animation style up a bit, so I haven't got there yet. I'm only about 6 or 7 episodes in, I think, and then they're on subtitles, so I've got to wait until it's dubbed. Which on Funimation they've got simul-stream. So right now I'm happy with it. I'm good. I'm enjoying it. There's not your standard, bullshit that I don't like in anime, which is all the fan service crap and panty shots. So thumbs up so far. I'll let you know after I finish up the entire season. And then the second anime I watched, and I'm still watching it. I'm only about 6 or 7 episodes in. And it's called Special 7. It's a crime investigation unit. Of course, one guy is just a plain ordinary detective, and then you've got, your ragtag of weird people. And there's like one person's like a troll, one person's an elf, one person's homunculus that is supposed to be like an adult, but is actually looks like she's like 12 type thing. What it is they're a group of special force crime investigation unit that go around and solve crimes, whatever. Recently, the story has started moving into magic, and people are starting to use magic in the world again. Kind of reminded me of, what was that movie with Will Smith?
Bright.
Bright. I'm sure this came out probably before Bright, more than anything.
It sounds very Shadowrunny.
It is, but there's not technology like in Shadowrun.
Okay.
It's very modern day technology.
That sounds like fun. Sort of urban fantasy kind of.
It is. There's not a lot of magic. They don't show a lot of it. A lot of it's just guns and fighting. The little girl's a ninja, and she tells you that through the entire episode a bunch of times, and it kind of gets a little annoying. But she's the cute factor in the anime. The elf is a samurai type, vampire. Yes, she's a vampire. And she's like a samurai, and she can, I guess bullet with my gun. That's pretty funny. It's just a crime investigation thing, and right now they're investigating a terrorist group that is using magic and trying to bring the dragons back in the world. So far, not bad. I'm only about like 6 episodes in, so I'm good animation, good style. Nothing that made me turn off automatically. So I was like, okay, I'll keep watching this. I
read that as no fan service.
No fan service.
Yet.
Let me go back a little bit. There was one fan service episode in Granblue where they were all doing a beach scene in bikinis and stuff, and I'm like, okay, it's that episode. All right, fast forward. Okay, here's where it comes into it. But it was an annoying type thing, and I just kind of glanced over that episode. I did try to start another anime, and I got like one episode in, and I was like, nope, done. I can't remember it, but it's about a girl that joins a virtual MMO and tries to make her character so defensive that eventually her character can't move. And I'm like, this is kind of stupid. But it's a cutesy, poppy type, whatever one. And I was like, nah, done. Didn't even get any further than episode 1. I don't even think I even got through episode 1. Let's go with something that I was kind of disappointed in. So I'm not a big horror fan, not hugely into it, but when I find a good horror movie, I'm like, yeah, this was really good. It wasn't, it was just a good, solid movie. If anybody remembers, I reviewed It Chapter 1, when it came out on like whatever, many, many months ago, and I really liked it. I tried watching It 2, and I did watch it. Let me take it back. I did watch It Chapter 2 all the way through. But I was kind of disappointed in it. It was like, you really didn't need to make this movie anyway. But It Chapter 1 was such a big success that they went in and did it anyway. The story is supposedly 27 years after the first movie. And everybody's an adult. And it's got some decent actors in it. James McAvoy, which I really like. And they have to come back to the hometown to finally stop it and destroy it completely. Special effects wise, no problem with the movie. Creepy factor, good and solid. It just didn't feel... You just didn't care. That's the best way to put it. Just didn't care about anything that was happening in that movie. I was like, okay, we know that they're eventually going to... blah, blah, okay, they got to get through this, they got to do this. And it just felt like it was piecemeal together just to put another movie out. And which sucked because the first one I thought was amazing. I had a blast with it. I thought it was a really good time. A really good horror movie that didn't do the jump scares, which are like my most hated thing in horror movies. And it wasn't huge gore. It was, gross and disgusting, but it wasn't over the top. It Chapter 2 just fell flat with me. I was kind of disappointed in it. So, for a horror movie, it's okay. For a movie overall, it's still just okay. So it gets like my, 2.5, 3 meh review. Because it's just there. It didn't pull me in, didn't suck me in, didn't put me into the spot, didn't, I didn't feel like I was wanting it very much. So, spoiler, I will be watching Dark Phoenix this coming week.
Spoiler, it sucks.
It sucks. It is actually coming out.
Not review of that at all.
It is coming out, and I wanted to watch it because I know you did it and you reviewed it, and I wanted to watch. And it's on HBO. So you didn't watch it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I thought you saw it, John.
No, I have standards.
But it comes on HBO this week. I think Monday is its first live day, and I'm gonna watch it and see and give a full review on that. I'm fully expecting it to suck.
Netflix or Amazon Prime for free. Yeah. Would I even remotely?
Captain Missy's got the standards in quotes for you.
Look, if I can't find a positive review on a major motion picture like that, I'm not paying money for it. Like, oh yeah, I watched Atlantic Rim. Oh yeah, I watched Cats. Oh yeah, I watched Robo Vampire. Oh yeah, I watched Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. They were all free.
Yeah, this is free, so I'm not worrying about it.
Crimson, I have standards. The man who watched Transformers movies. Those were also all free. That Blu-ray was a gift. Was it a gift? A curse?
Curse?
It's a little bit of a gift and a curse, but that's my idea of standards. I'm not going to pay for a movie I know is going to be shit. Actually, no, I did watch Batman vs Superman, and I did pay for that. But I guess not so much on standards. Who knows?
Let's see. A movie I watched yesterday called Yesterday. Yesterday is a movie about a failing artist that gets into a wreck and something happens in the world where all the lights turn off and people like there's certain things that just completely disappear from the world, and one of those is the Beatles. And the guy remembers who the Beatles are, knows all their songs, knows all their music, but nobody else in the world does. And so he actually takes it upon himself to say those are his movies, writes them, produces them,
Oh,
does whatever, and gets the credit for them. There's also some other things that go on, like I thought it was funny. I was like, man, if I could have a cigarette right now, I'd smoke it. And the guy's like, what's a cigarette? And they like every once in a while you see him at his computer looking up things like Coke. Coca-Cola doesn't exist in this world. So he asks his flight attendant if she has some Coke. And she gives him this look like, what do you mean? He's like, Coca-Cola. And she's like, oh, what? But there are certain things in the world that just didn't, ever happen at one point, but he remembers it. He eventually finds people that do remember the same thing that he does. They do all their songs. They play, all the Beatles songs, which must have been, pretty nice for them to be able to get all this music in there because, the Beatles songs are classics, rewrite history songs. It's done by quite a few of the actors are pretty unknown. So there's not very many people in it that, were part of something. It was actually not a bad movie. It had a couple of funny parts. It's a rom-com at its heart, with the Beatles music. It's a movie that's got like a soul and will talk about things and do things and get things done. I actually liked it. I'm a big Beatles fan to begin with, so I'm like singing along with the music as it's being played. Ed Sheeran is in it, and he actually plays himself as Ed Sheeran, but kind of plays himself. I don't know how he is in real life, but he actually plays himself as a snooty little privileged songwriter and such, and there's some pretty funny things that go on with that. Like they're changing the song from Hey Jude to Hey Dude, and stuff, and it just goes off and goes everything. But it does highlight some of the things in the music industry, so that was interesting. Overall, it wasn't a bad movie. It was free on HBO, so, like I said, I'm not going to complain. I give it maybe like 2 space herpes. Not bad at all. If you like Beatles music and you like a rom-com, you'll like it. It was pretty decent. Let's see. I'm going through Netflix movie. Those are easy. The girl with all the talents, all the gifts. Excuse me. It's a Netflix movie on right now, and of course, it's a zombie-based movie. It's about a girl and it's still new, so I'm not going to spoil it. That supposedly has these gifts to deal with zombies. It's your typical zombie movie. We're trying to live through everything. There's people that are living, scientific stuff and everything, and they have all the equipment, and they're trying to live through a zombie apocalypse. You see this entire plot way ahead of time, and you know exactly how everything's going to play out every single time you watch it. Anytime you start watching it, you're just like, yep, XYZ, this is how it's going to happen. ABC, this is how it's going to get done, and they're going to get to plot F, and that's when it's going to be done, and you just see through the whole thing. The little girl in the movie, good acting job, really cool. She did pretty good. Wasn't any bad acting in it. It was just very predictable and kind of boring. It rates on my meh to close to 3.5. It's better than the sharp stick in the eye like usual, but you could spend time watching a better movie. I was not impressed with it. Find something else. There's a couple of mine on another Netflix movies on my list that I can pick up and watch. So I'm going to watch those this week. I have one last one, and then we'll get on with yours, John.
Yep.
And it came out for free, I believe. No, I had to rent it. And it was Ip Man 4. And it's the last Ip Man movie. And if you love like old 80s martial arts movies like Drunken Master or, any of those old, 80s style martial arts movies, you'll love this. It was super, super classic martial arts movie. Somebody's kung fu is better than someone else's kung fu, and they have to prove that their kung fu is better, and this one brings the Marines into it, and it does have some standards based in real life, because it is kind of loosely based off of this man's life. But I mean, it was a great martial arts movie. I'm sitting there watching, the martial artists and, watching the fighting. I'm like, yeah, this reminds me of me sitting on my floor in my living room, Saturday afternoon martial arts when I was a kid, watching all those crazy martial arts movies.
Should also point out this is more realistic than those martial arts movies by a long stretch.
Correct, it is. But it reminds me, because of the way the style was and the way it was done, there is some wire tricks, and, you're like, that could, that would never happen and stuff, but it's just good visual martial arts movie.
You didn't even mention the best part, that Ip Man is played by Donnie Yen.
Well, I figured you'd know that, because that's, who it's what it's always been.
But not everyone's going to know that.
Well,
and people may also know that Ip Man is based off the story of the man who taught Bruce Lee.
Correct. But supposedly this was supposed to be the last one that they did. And I'm okay with that. I was really surprised they made 4 of them. 1 was really good. 2 and 3 were okay. 4 was really good. It was a lot of fun. I'm
sort of match the online reviews I've heard of them.
Yep. It's you'd be pushing a 2 on this one. I would say 1.5, because it was just a good, fun movie to watch. You knew it was going to happen. You knew it was going to. The plot was okay to the point that you know how it's going to happen, because if you've seen martial art movies, you know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
But it was good fun. Some of the characters were over the top stereotypes, and like really pushing over the top stereotypes. But it was a really good, fun movie. So that's my gem of the week, if you want to call that. Because it did some really good stuff. I really enjoyed the movie at all. So I think that's it. I will definitely probably have about 5 or 6 more.
I don't know what I'm going to have for next week, because probably talk about the short treks, because I watch those. But yeah, I just finished Discovery Season 2. Spoiler, it was awesome.
Whenever it first came out and I started watching it, and you and I were talking about it, and you were like, Season 1, people complained about Season 1 a lot because it wasn't Star Trek. And really, it wasn't a Star Trek.
It was more Star Trek than people gave it credit for.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It didn't fit the standard explore new worlds, find new alien races, that type of thing.
Well, there's more to it than that, actually. The first season does, because at the end of the day, it starts off showing that not being Star Trek, if you will, with Michael Burnham's plot arc, that can hurt you, and that's not the way forward, and how they learn from that. And even with sometimes the easy way out, they don't choose that. They choose the right way, the Starfleet way. And then even more so in Discovery Season 2 do they do that.
Yeah. Season 1, I understand when people complained about it wasn't the Star Trek feel, but it still was Star Trek. It just was in a different time. Like I said, it's the war thing. People don't care for the war stuff.
It's a little off from overall, but and there are parts of Season 2 that are a little much. Since Captain Izzy's gone out, there will be spoilers. Let's try and keep it somewhat light. I'm not sure if Kathy plans on seeing it or not, but
I don't know. We'll see.
we'll see.
She
We'll try to
doesn't
keep
care.
it light. We won't spoil any of the huge things, but there's an overarching, little bit of back and forth between the protagonist and the people in Section 31, which, if you know your DS9, I think Enterprise also, they're sort of the CIA of the Starfleet. They do the things that got to get done, even if they
Time
make
cop
sense.
people.
No, not the time cop. They're more, do the hard thing, like, oh, you can't do this. Like, we don't care. We got to do it because save the universe. We're going to do all this unsavory stuff to make sure the Federation and Starfleet keeps going. So Starfleet as a whole can keep its untarnished reputation, let's say. But yeah, the whole plot is basically there are 7 cosmic signals that show up in the galaxy, and they have to go explore them. And since they don't have a captain, because they lost their captain during the first season, Christopher Pike comes over from the Enterprise because they encounter the Enterprise, and the Enterprise is basically not working. Like, don't know if something went. Why they never explain what went wrong. They sort of hint that it might just be the holographic system they've been using that you never saw in the original series. And they definitely do some of that where they why didn't we see the original series? Oh, we pulled that whole thing out of the Enterprise. They try and fit everything in so that it fits with the original series, and it does an okay job. It does sort of end up leading you to some things like what's going to happen because we never heard of this thing, and you're like, oh, of course they have to write that thing out somehow. But they do a pretty good job of it overall. It does mean that, Spock is a big character in the series. And, I mean, you're not worried he's going to die. He kind of goes into the original series. So, but he does have a very good character arc in it. I was very pleased with that. His interactions with Michael Burnham, who is ostensibly his sister by upbringing, not by any actual blood or anything, are good. Captain Pike is awesome. They do a great job of fleshing out all the secondary characters and tertiary characters that should have gotten fleshed out in the first season, and that may be, in hindsight, the biggest problem with the first season is all the other bridge characters you see episode after episode don't get fleshed out. I mean, granted, there's a lot going on in season 1, but it is kind of unfortunate you don't get any details on anyone until season 2. And I think that's part of what makes it so much better. Lieutenant Detmer at Navigation. All of them, and you get a little idea about them all, so it means more. And there's a couple episodes that really take advantage of that. They hit you 2 in a row, where one of the bridge characters gets killed, and they lay it on thick. And it does a good job. It hits you. It hits you in the feels. And then the next episode, they open with the funeral of that same character, and they hit you to feel the end. Luckily, Bania and I watched those episodes back to back, so it was only one feels hit. But there's a lot of good stuff there. I was very pleased with the way it went. It feels very much like Star Trek. It was a good, honestly, if I'd seen this before I saw Picard, I would not have been worried about Picard being good at all, because this was very high quality, very enjoyable. I mean, I'm gushing. It's 0 space herpes. This should be a shock to no one.
The second season was incredible.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the shit out of it. I can't remember the girl's name, or the actor, or the actress, or the character name, the female scientist, with the red hair.
Tilly?
Yeah.
Tilly?
Yeah, she was my favorite out of the entire. I really loved her as a character on that show.
She seems the most real.
Yes. She got upset at really big stuff, but she was like, okay, I got to pull my shit together and get this done. She's my favorite out of the entire cast. I like her a lot.
And she does have a good little arc in there. And I like how they've got the overarching, thing. And they have little sub arcs in it that sort of get you from point to point. And to make the, if you would, what would normally called filler work, rather than having it confined to an episode, they have it go over episodes, have it start halfway through something. So you've got this connective tissue that makes it feel like it. Not everything's wrapped up at the end of the episode. It feels like there's good connective tissue between the episodes.
Yes.
And that makes a hell of a thing. Tilly actually reminds me a little bit of the Doctor in Picard, who is so far over her head and feels real because of it. They did a good job with that. I like all the characters are likable or unlikable for all the right reasons.
The first captain or the
Giorgio?
Yes.
Fucking A.
He's amazing.
Oh, you mean Lorca?
Lorca. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jason Isaacs. He did a great job with that, and I can understand there being some criticism of season 1, but I feel like it's not fair. I feel like you may have come in with unfair expectations of what new Star Trek was going to be, and Star Trek's always going to evolve. It's not always going to be the original series or the next gen.
No.
And I feel like that's its strength and its weakness to some people. To most of its strength, it means you can get different flavors of series.
I think this series is, and I hate to say the word darker, but it's more in your face.
It is technically darker, but it's not bleak.
Yes.
If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there are certain times they'll make it. Like, the first season got a little rough at points. They probably could have scaled it back a little bit. But the second season was still a little darker, but never felt bleak, never felt depressing. It shows you how to make something feel realistically without it becoming soul-crushingly depressing.
Correct.
And that is why I twitch every time it says something like, "We're going to make this, but we're going to make it dark." And I'm like, we don't fucking need dark. The world is dark. Let's get something bright. Or if you're going to do it, don't do dark just to be dark. Do dark because you're going to give good plot lines and meanings. And that's what Discovery has had. Even the first season, Lorca's arc is a good arc, and I actually like how it weaves into the greater Star Trek narrative through since we're spoiled the fuck out of that, through the Mirror Universe and how that goes through. I mean, the Mirror Universe has shown up in multiple series now, and it's all weaved together fairly well. I mean, if you watch the Enterprise Mirror episodes, In a Mirror Darkly, Parts 1 and 2, very good.
Those were very good. Those were the best episodes of Enterprise, I think.
Yeah, probably. I've seen them. They're great. There's some of the few Enterprise episodes I've seen besides early season 1. And then it weaves into the episodes in the original series. This weaves right between the two of them because it's where it is. And then it weaves right into eventually Deep Space Nine. In fact, the biggest failing of Next Generation would be not having a mirror episode. There's a book, not sure how good it is, but there was a Mirror Universe book for Next Gen, but not an episode. But I very much enjoy it. I could keep gushing on it for a while, but I actually end up really liking just about everyone. I mean, some of them are asses at times, but even, Mirror Giorgio, the Emperor, she's an ass at times, but she's an amusing ass because she's fucking terrible, but sometimes you need that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for the new season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. I mean, not sure it's enough to keep me in CBS All Access till it comes out. But I will honestly say, between these two seasons and Picard, it is absolutely worth the full price for as long as it takes for you to watch them.
Yeah.
If you watched an episode a day, not quite an episode a week, because an episode a week's a little rough. That would be like, what, 38 episodes? No, if you watched 30, you couldn't really afford that. That'd be a little much for it. But if you watch at a moderate pace, it's good. It's easily worth 3 months. That's only $30. It's well worth that price. And we'll see. Right now I'm loaning out my, be quiet, I'm loaning out my access, because two people can access it once to someone else so they can watch Discovery. And then Banian might watch. There's some other series on there. Plus, there's Short Treks. And I did mention this to Captain Mizzy, if you guys saw in the chat room. There is an episode of Short Treks called Runaway that you should watch before the last two episodes of Discovery. Or you're going to be like Banian and I were like, hold on, did we miss something? Because I don't recognize what the fuck just happened. It is not the first time they did that. There's another time where he's like, I don't understand. I'm like, it's a classic series thing. Because they do flash back to the classic series once. Yeah. Because it is Captain Pike. It was a series. And we talked about this earlier. While we still agree Picard is probably the best Starfleet captain, Pike is a real close second.
All right.
So,
guys, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Tonight, I'm actually going to send y'all to Rainer when we're done. But for episode 119, I'm Gonzo.
I'm John. I win!
She wins this time. So I'm going to be sending y'all to Rainer. Please stay around to watch him. He's an amazing guy. Don't forget to watch him. Good night, people.
Good night.